Good morning, everybody, if you are joining me this morning. Following on from yesterday's post in regards to what you can do to help improve your lifestyle and enhance your posture, I thought I'd go through some exercises today. No problem if you're not doing this live. Hopefully you'll pick it up at some point in the day, so I thought I'd do it sooner rather than later. Okay, so in terms of the lower back, sometimes we get aches and pains because the muscles that support that structure aren't utilised correctly. So in order to take, if you like, the wrap off the ligaments of the lower back, we need to strengthen into the bottom muscles and the back of the thigh. So we'll just start off with a spinal curl. So you're going to bring your feet into hip width and you're going to place your hands at the side of the body, press into the feet, and you might feel an activation at the back of your thighs. Imagine you've got a magnet between the ankle bones and you're drawing in, so you pick up your inner thigh line. Now you don't have to excessively peel, especially if you've got niggles and aggravation going on with the lower back. I wouldn't advise a complete peel to start with. So just allow whatever feels comfortable for you. The bottom's going to leave the floor, then the waistband, smaller the back, lower ribs, mid ribs, upper ribs. So there's no pressure on the head and neck. Press into the palms. So the upper arm might come off the floor and then you'll be using the back line, those tricep muscles as well to balance. Then as you come down, you're just going to release. So you could go through your upper back, your mid back, your lower back, smaller the back, waistband, and then the bottom. So let's do another one like that into a little curl. So sometimes if you're sat at a desk, parts of the spine can get stiff. And if parts of the spine are getting stiff, then you won't be able to send as much oxygen and the nutrients to that area, and it tends to get a little stiffer and it gets a little tighter, and that's when you can get the soreness or the pain or a constant ache. Okay, so if you don't want to completely do a tilt there, remember you're just allowing that part to lift with less of a curl. So if you have got aggravations, don't force that. And then we come back down. Try and place one joint in turn. So imagine a string of pearls and you keep lengthening that piece of string, each joint in turn, like that pearl comes down. Okay, we're going to do one more rep like this. So really press into your feet and you're opening the hips, stretching through the front of the thighs, and it's when you open the hip line that you can engage into the glutes and lengthen away. So this should feed right through to the hamstring lines, the back of the thigh, into the bottom, and then we peel back down, one joint in turn. And if you almost skip and the body wants to do this and land, this is where you've got tightness. This is what you need to work on to iron out, if you like, those kinks in the chain. Okay, so that's 4 reps there. Now we're going to come to the top, press into the foot line and peel. Okay, so you should be feeling this into the back line, to the bottom, the back of the thighs. Now rather than coming all the way down, now we're just going to change it. So you're going to keep your spine what I call long or a flat spine, if you like. Obviously we know the spine's not flat. And you're just going to lower a little way. So there's no peel, and then you're going to lift. So as you lower, you need to imagine between those panes of glass, so you're not doing this and dropping, or you're not hyperextending. And then we open. Now the movement comes from opening the hip line, rather than pushing up through the back. So we're here. So all this stays connected. So we're going to aim for another 4. So this is targeting that muscle right at the back line. 3. As opposed to, we want to use this muscle as opposed to always going in directly into the lower back. And then you can come back down on that long spine. Okay. Now we're just going to turn onto the side. So as much as you need to strengthen the back line of the bottom, you need to strengthen the side line as well. 2 muscles here, that medius and minimus. So we're going to lengthen. You can rest your head on your arm, or you can come here. So just bring your legs into this angle. So your knees are in line with your hips, your feet are in line with your knees. You're going to hover the top leg. So imagine you're balancing that tray. And then we're going to lift. Now it's not too far, less is more. So these are Pilates based exercises that I'm doing today. So tiny movement. You're not opening the knee because then it'll be in the inner thigh, and equally if your knee turns in, it'll be on the quad. So you need to, at the front of the thigh. So you need to allow your leg line here to be heavy. So it's just a smooth movement here. And this is all staying stacked. as you move. So we're going to, pelvis is stacked, so it's not rolling back or forward. Do another 4, for 3, for 2, 1, and then you can start to circle the leg. So without putting the leg down from this position, just start to circle. So you're going to do small circles here. If you wanted a little bit more, take this leg back and then circle. And those of you that, if you do conditioner work already, you might want to do this on a straight leg anyway. So you just circle here instead. So we're there. We'll do another 3, 2, 1, and then go forward. So straight leg, if you know your body will go with that and you're not going to get any pain or adverse reaction. And this leg can just be bent to support you. It's about the size of a football. Another 3, 2, 1, and we should feel that into the sides. Okay, coming up, let's just change sides. So from here, set up, and then we'll just do as we're balancing a tray. So we're there. And we'll go for 6. Now if you're not feeling in here, that's not because it's easy, that's because your alignment might be incorrect. So you need to align the bones, and then as you move, you've got more chance the joint action will allow that movement to occur. So do another 4, 3, 2, and this will be working here as well to stabilise you. 1. Now you can do a bent leg and circle, so you might want to stay here. So depending on how your back is, otherwise bring your legs, it comes more through to that 45 degrees, and you can do this then on a bent leg still if needed, or on a straight leg. So we'll do 8 circles back and breathe, and then we're going to go 8 circles forward. Watch the knee, keep that alignment to the ankle, and then rest. Okay, so that is going to strengthen these muscles to support the back. Okay, now your next one, we looked at the head and the neck alignment. So often if you're on a computer, we tend to get this, or you know, when you're on your phone, you've got this going on and the chin gets protruded forward. We need retraction, so we need to draw back. Now I'll show you this in seated to begin. So from this position, you're going to do like a little chin, almost like a tuck, so it's like a little nod. So you draw ever so slightly down and you're drawing the chin back. So you're drawing back as if you've got a piece of thread drawing you here, pulling you back. So it's not a nod down, you're just connecting here. So from that position, we're just a fraction of a look down and then connect back. Okay, so it's not this and dropping. Now do this on the floor, so you've got a base of support and feedback. So from here, press the back of the head into the mat. Just allow the arms to be long, shoulders to be connected, and then you're going to gently draw down and you press back at the same time. So we need to strengthen the muscles, and we go again, nod and press back and release. That get overly lengthened because we're looking forward. So we need to strengthen, nod and press. So it's almost an opposition movement. So as you nod down, you're pressing the base of the skull back into the mat. And again, we'll do 8, 4, 5, breathing in, 6, 7, and 8, and release. Okay, and then just allow your head to roll right to left. And notice as you do this, can you move one way more easily than the other? So be careful how you've got that desk set up. If your phone is on one side, if you're constantly having the phone in the one hand as you speak, which side is the mouse on? Which side you turn maybe to file something in a cabinet? So be mindful of that. And we'll go inhale, exhale, Relax your head and neck back, just let the head roll. It's almost a little massage as well for those tissues, that fascia around the head. One more, and centre. Okay, so that is just a little release work there rather than a strengthener. Okay, now your next one, for that increased energy, that vitality. So often the body works harder than it should if we've got muscular imbalances and asymmetry. So we're going to look at lengthening out through the sides of the body. So from here, we'll do a little strength exercise, and then we'll take it into a stretch or a lengthening. So we're going to come back down, interlace the hands, bring the thumbs down the side of the neck, and we're going to press into the feet. We lift up, and then you're just going to do a little twist to centre, twist. Now if you want a little bit more, pick up a leg as you twist. So we're looking to strengthen those internal oblique muscles, so there's deep into the side line, if you like, there. Now if one side is stronger than the other, this is when you get a pull. Okay, now back to centre. If you want more, you can have 2 feet off the floor and twist. So the shoulders aren't touching the floor and you're spiraling that rib cage around the spine. And you can do up to 8 reps on each side, and back to centre and down. Okay, just roll onto the side. So now let's release that. Now you can do this in a seated position, or you can come into a kneeling position, whatever suits you. So just going to lengthen. We'll do rainbow arms. So we're going to lengthen over. Now you might notice as you lengthen, I've got one side as well, that is more freely movable than the other. So it's that asymmetry that can cause problems in the body. Sometimes we get those aches, those pains, those niggles. So if you think of the spine, the actual spine itself, almost, if you think of a tent and the spine is the main pole, all your guide ropes coming off that pole, i.e. the muscles, if one is stronger than the other, it's going to pull on that framework, yeah? So the main pole of your spinal column is going to get pulled into a different direction. And lengthen. So you could always do this as a smaller movement if you didn't want to take the arms over the head. Breathing in, breathing out, you could come here. And again, imagine you've got that brick wall behind us, so you're not leaning. Let's do a couple more each side. Breathe in, lengthen. So you make a C shape with the spine. And release. Okay, coming back to centre. Okay, now we also looked at the breathing, okay? So if your spine is stiff or the muscles are tight, we can't get as good breath capacity. So from here, when you breathe, yes, you want to breathe below the navel, the breath wants to travel to the chest line, otherwise this area is going to get a bit stiff and stuck and rigid. Obviously you don't just want to breathe into the chest line, because that's when we get too high up into that area and you risk things like that hyperventilation, so you don't want to be here. But it needs to travel, and ideally it travels into either side of the rib cage as well as into the small of the back. So just sit how is most comfortable for you, and place and breathe. So in through the nose, out through the mouth, or however you want to go, in and out through the nose is fine. And without changing anything, just notice where the breath falls and where it goes into. And then perhaps place one hand below the navel, one into the small of the back, and inhale. Is the breath going into the front and the back, or are you breathing predominantly into the front? So again, if you think, keep breathing and practicing that while I talk. If you're sat and you're not getting any nourishment, that means the blood isn't getting sent into that area. There's no oxygen nutrients into your lower back, and it gets a little bit stiff again, gets a little bit rigid, especially if you're sat there for a long time without moving at all. Now bring your hands to the side of the ribs and breathe in, breathe out. Now notice, can you breathe better into one half than the other? So you could take a hand away and see if you can just isolate that side, then we can change. And which is more natural, which side can you breathe into? Now I'm just going with this, but you could do this as a whole exercise and spend longer on it. Okay, now from there, transition this to the floor. You can keep the knees bent. And then we're going to breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth, and just feel where the breath is. Go again. Breathing in, breathing out. Now from here, let's change this into Egyptian arm floats. So you're going to bring your shoulder in line with your elbow, your hand in line with your elbow, and I just want you to open. Now remember, your arm line is attached to your spinal line. So if your arm line is stiff, the spine will be stiff. So this is what we're thinking about now when we're breathing. We're opening the chest line. So imagine that your arm bone is a key and the shoulder is the lock, and you're just unlocking and we're twisting. So it's that action in laying down. So it's not here. You initiate from the top line, so you rotate and then you come back. So remember, the lats twist to insert underneath the armpit line. So you're going to be breathing out, rehydrating through that line. Okay. And then release. So that would be a nice one to help open up that chest line as well. Okay, so from there, the last one we're going to do, we talked about improving digestion as well. Now, if you've got a roller, or you might have a grid, you might have one of the fascial release balls, that's fine. You're going to bring that, I'd say mid-back, and to start with, and then we're just going to roll so that the bottom can come off the floor, it just scooch off the floor and into that area. So you can roll the whole line obviously as well. Just watch, you're not pushing up. So let's just do the top half first, so you're there. And just feel if you've got any knots, any of those adhesions, you're just going to iron out as you roll. So we're here. Now, if you didn't have a roller, that's okay. What you could use, keep doing is a tennis ball just on the one half and roll on the floor, or you could even put the tennis ball and do that against the wall. And if you wanted to, you could come down into the small of the back here and roll. So you just do that part as well. So you could do it in 2 segments rather than rolling up the whole line. There's nothing wrong with rolling up the whole line. It's just if you want be a little bit more specific. And again, 8 to 12 reps as you do that. So there are my little postural exercises to help. You can let me know your feedback on that.